Hello friends, Tanya here with a video featuring the Trinity Stamps third birthday party release. This is the June 2021 release, and I am going to show you a few of my favorites. I'm going to start out with the Wish You Were Here Gnome die set. Oh, excuse me, stamp and die set. And I am going to show you how I colored this pair of gnomes who are hanging out at the beach with a drink and a giant slice of yummy watermelon. I am picturing or showing you the caps of the Copics as I color them. I'm just using two tones to color the flesh. I happen to make these guys kind of pale. Well, pale-ish. And I wanted their hats to look like straw hats. So I'm using some E30s, and I do change the lightest tone that I'm going to use. And I started with the darkest and I'm working towards the lightest. I really love these beachy gnomes. I think they are adorable. I would love to hang with these gnomes, wouldn't you? They just really make me think of all things summer. So this is the lightest color that I did use on their hats. And you could use a whole bunch of combinations. This is all three E20s that I'm using for the beard and the braids. Starting with the lightest tone here, just flicking the color on, just laying down a map kind of where I want the colors to be. And I'm going up to the mid-tone and then the darkest, and I'll come back and fill in with the lightest of the three colors because I don't want any white showing through on this particular beard. I did speed this up very fast because I didn't want this video to be any longer than it is. It's already over 21 minutes. That's a good long video, don't you think? And for the watermelon, I'm using these R22 and R24. I didn't have to be so careful going around those seeds, but I was. There you go. I wanted this juicy looking watermelon to be just watermelon juiciness. I am using the same reds and yellows throughout the entire project. Added some dark tones for the shadows on her dress. I almost forgot the watermelon rind, and if I had been thinking, I would have created stripes throughout the whole thing, but just thought about it on the bottom. I'm using a warm gray to add this watermelon seeds. And this is one I colored earlier. I did use probably some lighter browns for that. And slightly different colors for the beard. You can do this in so many ways. There is a coordinating die for the gnomes and for the aloha word in the die set. I'm only going to use the one for the gnomes. And then we're going to use the Slimline striped frame die. This is another one of the new things that came out this month. And I think it's adorable. These stitched panels also coordinate with it. And I had to figure out which of these layers I wanted to use. I ended up picking the smallest one because it lays over this the best. And I'm going to use the Puffy Cloud stencil with the Trinity Teal ink to create a sunny background. I just wanted some blue skies with some clouds, and I just re-inked my Trinity Teal, so it is very juicy. So I'm tapping off some of the excess ink in the lid of my ink pad, and then I can use the ink that I've dabbed into the cap to add a little ink to my blending buddy here also. This panel is a little bigger than what I'm going to need ultimately. I am also going to add some liquid pixie dust to add some spatter that is shimmery because that always makes everything look better. Just adding a little water to that to make it a little looser so I can spatter it really easily. And once that has air dried, I will choose the section I like the best, secure it with some tape, and run it through my die cut machine. And at the same time, I'm going to do the striped panel also. These pieces all just fall out super easy. Doesn't take very long to get those all out. Probably more time to sweep away all of the debris. And that's how they layer up together. I love how that looks. But I wanted a little bit of a beachy scene added here, so I'm going to take some embossing ink and some sand embossing powder, and I applied that with just a sponge dauber or a ink blending tool, and I'm heat setting that, and there we have a beach scene for our gnomes to hang out on. I'm also going to add some words to this, or some sentiments. I'm going to take those from the stamp set. We've got Aloha, Summer Gnomies, and I'm just trying to line those up to my satisfaction. And I'll set this in my Misty once I've lined it all up. And I do like to do this because my cards are always a work in progress. I don't have a firm plan when I start. So I'll just pick those up with the lid of my Misty. I'll bring out my VersaFine Onyx Black and ink those up quickly and close the lid, and magically there it is. Just beautiful. And then I'm going to add Enjoy the Sunshine to the inside of the card. I'm going to keep the inside of this card pretty simple. This is a Slimline card base that I have turned inside out so I can stamp the inside easily. And it helps if you remember to do this before you assemble your card. I have made it work even when my card's assembled and I decide I know what I want to put on the inside, but it really does work better. Now, I'm sorry my camera was not running when I assembled this card, but this is what it looks like assembled. I'm using some rhinestones or gems from the Trinity embellishment store. I don't know if those are the fairy rocks or the unicorn tears, but it's a shimmery one. I pulled out my Slimline envelope builder die set and cut out all of the pieces, and I'm using it's a cardstock that I picked up at Walmart, I believe. It's just supposedly Bristol, but it's a lightweight, so probably like a 65-pound. And I haven't found any other uses for this. It works really good for slightly heavyweight envelopes. And I'm using this ombre ink pad from Hero Arts. I just wanted to add the outline on the outside of the envelope before it is assembled. That's one of the amazing things about making your own envelopes with the envelope builder dies. They enable you to put your design on before it's even assembled. I also decided to spatter some liquid pixie dust all over the pieces of this, and I'm going to let that air dry before I assemble it. And the ease of putting these together is amazing. It probably takes maybe 5 minutes total to make these envelopes. And you can have a little envelope making party now and again and make several at once, because you can die cut multiples at the same time. I think I have cut as many as 3 layers, or yes, 3 layers of cardstock at a time, so that really cuts down the time. And as you can see, I just crease all of the score lines and add a little adhesive, and I think the liquid adhesive works perfect for me. It's definitely strong enough and only takes an extra second or two to get the hold to stick. This is a narrow end opening one. There is envelope builder add-on for the Slimline envelope builder set that you can make this a long edge opening. But I thought we'd go with the short end opening this time. And even though there are all kinds of layers, it slides into this envelope perfectly. Next up, we're going to use the Cake and Candles stencil set. I wasn't sure I was going to love this, but I have used it 2 or 3 times already now, and I love it, I have to say. just lots of masking involved. I took a panel of 5x7 white cardstock, and I've masked off the areas that I don't want for each layer. I'm not going to make you watch me each time I'm masking off each of the sections that I'm not going to use. And I do make sure to clean the stencil well between colors because you don't want to get muddied up colors. I decided to go with a abbreviated rainbow theme here. I wasn't sure how many layers I would get, so I'm taking this plain thicker layer of the cake, and there's several options and extra details you can add. And then I'm going to take this like filling layer and use the blue, and then I am using this layer with the detail, the swirly loop detail. I was hoping to get a nice crisp white swirly loop. However, I did not use any kind of stencil adhesive on this, and so it moved around a lot. You'll see how I fix that later. Next time, pixie spray. I keep saying that. One more filling layer and then another thick layer at the top. Now you can see that I've been using the same blending buddy the whole time, and I've been using a damp cloth to clean it off between, and it didn't work that time. Oh well. I'm pulling out the Modern Embossed A7 stack. These are like my new fave. I love making 5x7 cards, and this stack has 18 different sizes. The possibilities are endless. I'm so excited. So this is the 4.5 by 6.5 inch panel. So that's the third from largest. And I pulled out these Hydra color metallic watercolors that are available in the Trinity shop. This is a whole rainbow of colors, and I'm going to spatter the heck out of this panel. I did put a little water on each of the colors that I thought I might use, but I end up only using the purple, the green, no, the purple, the blue, and the gold, or yellow, and spattered that all over this panel. And then I set it aside to dry. I had already die cut this because I didn't want to, I wanted to know exactly where I could end with the cake. Now, after it has dried, I am going to carefully use the stencil to apply some glitter glaze. This is called Unicorn Horn, and it is a silvery, light silvery, shiny glitter glaze. I am going to add some polka dots after I did the frosting top. And I'm having to be super careful. As you can see, I'm making sure that the previously stenciled area isn't touching the paper while I'm putting the polka dots on the bottom layer. And I succeeded. I did not make a big fat mess. Now this is going to have to sit aside for about, I think it was half hour to an hour to dry, for the glitter glaze to completely dry. In the meantime, I took another 5x7 panel of cardstock. This is a heavyweight. I think it's probably 120 pound because it's not watercolor paper, but I am using a fair amount of water to apply this green, which looks a little teal to me, metallic or shimmer watercolor. And I just want the edge because I'm going to use this as a matte panel behind the cake panel that I've already created. So I'm taking one size bigger. So this will be 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And I've die cut that, and you can see that edge that it creates. And this does work better with heavier weight cardstock. Next, we're going to use the Big Celebrate cut and foil set. And I have already used the foiling plate to foil the word celebrate in a teal color. And I die cut it with the word die, not the shadow. This is the word die. And I took a piece of coaster blank because I didn't want to do several layers of cardstock, but you sure could. And I'm going to adhere that to the back of the word so I can put this on the card a little later and have a little bit of extra depth on it. And then I'm not using the big and bold sentiments on this card, but it is on another one. And this is the supporting script sentiments. Both of these are amazing. I happen to use, I see that I forgot to mention, this happy birthday sentiment that I'm going to put under the celebrate, which isn't adhered yet. But I've had it on that panel so I could figure out placement. But this happy birthday is from the A Sentiment for Almost Everything stamp set, which is invaluable. I use it all the time. I'm also going to use a sentiment from the supporting, yep, there, a sentiment for almost everything. Now we're also going to use the supporting script sentiment stamp set, which is new, as is the big and bold sentiments. I'm going to center one of those sentiments on top of the cake. There wasn't room to put birthday candles, and I really wanted something on top of the cake. So this is the sentiment that says, wishing you a very happy birthday. Hopefully it isn't too confusing with the big celebrate in the middle, but I think that looks pretty cute. I did also stencil inside, and the frosting on top is actually liquid pixie dust applied with a ink blending tool. I didn't know if it was going to work. It did. It worked really well. And I did add another sentiment from the supporting script sentiment stamp set. Now I'm just adhering that first panel. It looks a little funny with just the edges, but I guarantee it's going to look fantastic. I had already put coaster blank on the back of both of those layers, and I'm just going to center this up on the card front, and then I will add the celebrate to the front. Just going to quickly add some glue to the back of these, and because they're so, the font and the size of the sentiment are so easy to glue. You don't have to have the super fine tip. I have it, I love it, I'll use it, but you don't have to. There's enough size on this that you could use a bigger tip if you needed to. I'm also pulling out the rainbow fish embellishments and some of the extra shiny gems. I honestly don't remember which ones they are because they don't have a label on them. Now I'm pulling out the A7 envelope builder. Again, loving the envelope builders. These are all the pieces that come in it, and you see there's a couple layers. And I am going to add some candles to the front of this envelope. Again, lots of masking. I'm going to cover the flames because I'm not ready to do anything with the flames yet. I'm going to use 3 colors, but get a rainbow. This is one of my favorite ways to get a rainbow. If you use a red, a blue, and a yellow, you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors out of that. Well, you could get 6 too if you came back around and got a purple with the red and the blue. And so I laid down some red and some blue, and then I came back with the yellow, and I have some pure yellow in the middle, and I've overlapped to get orange and green on each end. Now I move the tape and uncover the flames and add yellow to that, and then add some red to get a little bit of orange on the bottom. Still only using 3 colors of ink. Now we'll just assemble this envelope quickly. It's the same process as with the other one. I am putting the flap, the top flap on first, so I make sure and get that where I wanted it. And then I do the side flaps and then the bottom flap. There isn't a giant overlap when you fold these 2 flaps in. So when I'm adhering those together, I just put a thin line of adhesive along one edge. And that is the finished envelope. That's how they go together. I think they go together pretty well. Now the edge of the card can sometimes catch on that very bottom flap on the inside. Just push up a little bit on the card and it'll go through quickly. Here is another card that I created using that same stencil, only I used a couple of different glitter pastes, one in a yellow and that unicorn horn again. And I used a rainbow metallic cardstock to just die cut that. Stenciled the candles on the inside, and then he used the big and bold sentiments stamp set to stamp that happy birthday in Versamark, and then embossed with a clear sparkly embossing powder. And I created a coordinating envelope to go with that. These two cards were both made using the same supplies. It's amazing how different they can look. This video is part of the Trinity Stamps 3rd birthday celebration. We have many amazing products on this release, and they're all live today. So make sure you get your shopping done. You can hop along with us for your chance to win a $25 gift card to Trinity Stamps store. Bonus, you can also hop over to the Trinity YouTube channel for another chance to win. The hop will end on July 2nd at midnight, and winners will be announced on the Trinity blog on July 6th. Now, tell me which new product you're most excited about in the comments below. If you are interested in any of the products that were used in the cards today, they'll be in the description box and the link to the next participant in the hop. Until next time, bye-bye.